Thank you for clapping slightly louder for me than everyone else. I posted about this event on my Facebook, and my professor from college, from graduate school, sent me an article called "The Science Behind Storytelling and Why It Matters," which is a nice thing to get an hour before a show. Not in my head at all. But it started out, the first thing it says is, stories stimulate emotions, which may be the key to better learning, attention, memory, and decision making. And then I stopped right there and I said, well, if it means distance, and this is about decision making, I'm going to talk about the first time I ever went the distance. With a woman. We have time for one story. So I was saving myself, not religious or anything. The idea of getting somebody pregnant scares the bejesus out of me. And it was my junior year of college, and I was the vice president of student affairs for the student body, and then the school got a new vice president of student affairs for the campus. And he introduced me to his daughter. She was going to go to our school. He wanted me to show her around campus. That led to going back to my room. And then it happened. And then, and we made out, nothing too serious. But we started like dating. We hit it off immediately. She stayed in my room that night. She stayed in my room for like 2 months straight. And this was like the girl that I was in love with her, or infatuated with her, and maybe not in the healthiest way. But this was the girl that I wanted to lose my virginity to. And she'd already lost her virginity, so her it wasn't a big deal. But like she was like weird about taking it from a guy. But we like had a conversation about it. We said, all right, it's gonna happen. It's not gonna happen like right now. Like we're gonna somehow make it special. I don't know how we're going to, but we're going to. And then we're supposed to hang out one night, and she said she had like some study group thing to come up with. Like she couldn't hang out with me, which whatever. So I went over to my best friend's dorm, and he lived in a suite, and we were RAs, so we had master keys, so we were just like into each other's suite, not a big deal. And I keyed into his suite, and he was there, and she was there, and they were fooling around. So, and he had a girlfriend too, so that immediately lost my mind. We broke up, and but I was like so psyched in my head. I'm like, I'm gonna lose my, like I'm mentally prepared, like it was supposed to happen any day that I was going to lose my virginity. This is junior year of college. And I didn't know how to process it, so as a result of this, I'm newly single, and then he, my best friend, his girlfriend found out, I told her, and and who better to talk about and process such an emotional, traumatic thing than with her, so I invited her to my jazz band concert. Later that week, and and she came to my jazz band concert, and it was a drummer, and we closed on "Sing, Sing, Sing." It's like if there's one drummer song that's gonna get you laid, it's "Sing, Sing." Like way back to close second, right? And just riffing this, I need to write this down. So afterwards, and she's very attractive. It was like, never thought of her like that because, she's dating my best friend and we've been friends for a while. And she goes, hey, I came to your thing. Do you want to go to my thing? I'm like, oh, I guess that's fair. So we go to her thing, and she's also an RA. And her program that night was a Take Back the Night event. And if you don't know what Take Back the Night is, it's a date rape awareness vigil program where they light candles, they put their names on a card or in a bucket, and then date rape survivors come up and tell their stories. It's very similar to this, a little less laughter. Pretty close. I think there might have been Oreos. But this is particularly uncomfortable for me because my nickname on campus, please reserve judgment, I will explain, was the rape guy. No judging. Because I was an orientation leader over the summer, and they bring freshmen through the orientation program, and I volunteered to be in a sexual education sketch, which was filmed and shown to all the freshman students the first or second night of college in their dorms. And the thing we filmed, we went to a courthouse, and there was like a judge after, and then there was a female student, and she took the stand, and long story short, she's like, this guy raped me. And then my character, again, volunteering as an orientation leader, helping with a sexual education program, my character in the film that showed all the students comes on screen and is basically like, well, she didn't say no, you know? And then they stop the tape, there's no ending, and they break the students up into groups, and they have 5 to 10 minutes to discuss as a group, and each student group is their own jury, and they decide whether or not my character is guilty of rape. What I didn't realize was for the rest of my college career, anytime one of those 1,200 students saw me on campus, they would go, look, there goes the rape guy. And it didn't go away. And I know it sounds stand-up-y, but I mean, this is a true story. I would be recognized and called out on campus, which I guess is okay in the context of if you're a freshman student, but there are students who aren't freshmen, who are like, what are you talking about? And then the freshman would say something like, well, we saw the tape, we know. So, I had to deal with that. There's more to it, but we'll keep it short. So, I'm at the Take Back the Night event. They're telling their stories. It's very uncomfortable. We go back to my room afterwards, and we start drinking. And there was nothing romantic. We were like totally buzzed. It wasn't like this tension that was building. And for whatever reason, I just decided to kiss her. I didn't put any thought into it. We were just standing there, and that thing was like, bam, we kissed. One thing led to another. We're on my bed. Things are being taken off. And before you lose your virginity, like I had a whole thing planned out, and now it's just happening, right? There's no plan. And I get there's music in my room, and if you know anything about me, I'm a big Phil Collins fan. Start your first time on random because it may go from the Bare Naked Ladies mix to the Phil Collins mix. I wish this part was a joke. I entered her. Not that part, I'm glad that part happened. And the song switched, I think it was like Bare Naked Ladies 1 week or something. The song that came out was a song by Genesis. And like I don't think I pumped, like it was just like figuring this out. And the song that came on was Throwing It All Away. To which I must not have been that interesting because she acknowledged it immediately by laughing. So my first time inside a woman was her laughing. The next song, the last song, which is what I finished, was Phil Collins' Sister Sudi. So it was literally like it was like Sister Sudi. Oh no, what happened here? It was sad. And she stayed the night. It was nice. We cuddled. That's fine, but okay. And it was Parents' Weekend when this happened. So my parents were coming the next morning. And the next morning I'm not going to go into details, but for a reason she decided to do the bedding. Like she did the laundry, like, oh, your parents are going to come over, let's clean this up. So first off, how awesome is that? I lost my virginity and then the girl did my laundry. But then my parents were out to brunch the next morning, and they're like, "What's new? What's going on?" And I'm like, "I'm not gonna tell them that, you know." But I got recognized by a guy at this restaurant, a student, and he goes like, "Hey, aren't you the rape guy?" With my parents. And he goes to high five me. I'm all over at this point. I was one of those like Orthodox student leaders. And he goes, so I can't not high five him, right? So I high five him. But then I have to turn to my parents and be like, Mom, Dad, listen, I can explain. And my dad's like, no, I get it. And then he'd high five me.